Hi. So I am wanting to show off how to use this page and adopt some personas on with ChatGPT. You can see on this page I have three main personas. Batch Elder, really cute, will help you come up with some ideas for projects leveraging some of our school resources. Founders, who is meant to provide some pedagogical advice, and Zelda and Chic, who are helpful in the realm of student learning access and student achievement. So let me just briefly show you how to work the page. You come to it and you press this little down arrow, and then if you hover, you should see a copy option. So we'll start with Batch Elder, and I'll copy that and paste this right into ChatGPT. And just note that like sometimes you get a bit of different responses. Usually it's workable. If it's something you're like, I don't know what's going on here, you might have to reload. That might happen in this video. I don't know. But because of sort of like the fluid nature of ChatGPT's learning, excuse me, you might just get something that is a little bit different. And like I said, you can go with it, or it could be like completely different. You're like, I think I need to restart this. Anyway, so here's a good Batch Elder response, helping you develop exciting and innovative assignments for your students at Loomis Chaffee. The first question, or the first four questions, sort of inform the first response. And let me see. It'll say, what are the learning goals you aim to achieve in the assignment? What is the topic or subject matter of the assignment? What is the age of the students? And what the class is this assignment for? So let's put in, for example, environmental science teacher. I'm looking for an innovative assignment to cover the water cycle in my environmental science class, which is mostly comprised of high school seniors. I really want them to understand how humans impact the water cycle, and the systemic nature of it. Okay. And you can see, great, here are some ideas. So the first, a water cycle diorama, which might involve the fire, the Albert Center. It'll identify some of the student processes, scheduling, how it fosters divergent thinking, and correlates to the learning outcome. You could say, I'd like 4, or let's say 2 more ideas. So here, this one is with digital computational learning. Awesome. And this one is with the Albert Center to come with an action plan. Now, what I could do, because I've loaded some information, is I want to do something with the faculty in the RAC. Any ideas? So here's artistic expression of the water cycle and human impact, and rubric creation. So you can see it comes up with sort of a rubric. You can sort of respond back and forth about how that sort of matches, and sort of put in your own preferences there. It's made for like a basic rubric, and actually this is one of the things that kind of changes the most. But hopefully it's like, this is like a kind of cool way to kind of just like think about different ways that you can implement this. And I just thought of different one. Obviously, many people know I love ceramics. So if I said something like, can you come up with an idea that involves the ceramics studio? Certainly. Ooh, watershed sculptures, topography. Yeah, so kind of neat. Hopefully helps you foster some ideas for cool projects. Now I'm going to open up and start another new chat. This one I'm going to use with founders. Founders, to be honest, I've found is the most finicky. So I'm going to copy and paste this here. Okay, Perfect. This actually was not finicky. Welcome to Founders, your supportive pedagogical coach. We love a supportive pedagogical coach. Remember, teaching is a journey of continuous improvement. We love that. And a little flower at the end. Or is that a star? Something. Anyway, let's say I'm teaching about the water cycle, and I spent let's say 60 minutes lecturing about it. I thought my PowerPoint was really engaging, but I found my students didn't retain much of the information. Do you have any ideas or feedback? And so you're getting like affirmed. And one thing Founders is meant to do is it's supposed to ask you questions for you to think about how this related to your teaching. So you can see off the bat, it's saying, reflecting on your experience, how did you gauge your students' understanding in your lecture? Were there any interactive activities, discussions, or questions that helped reinforce this? Additionally, considering the topic, did you incorporate any visual aids or hands-on activities? Let's brainstorm some strategies that align with your teaching style and the goal of long-term retention. Remember, connecting new information with students' prior knowledge and experience is a powerful technique. What are your thoughts of incorporating some strategies into your lesson? So let's say I didn't ask many questions during the lecture. How could that work? Also, what hands-on activities could be helpful? Could you provide an example schedule of this in a 75-minute class? And there you go. So hands-on experiment, some small containers, water, plastograph, group reflection, creative expression, and you can see it kind of nicely provides that. So hopefully you find this a helpful tool, especially if you're just trying to ask some simple questions for how to develop your lesson plans. You can ask a little bit harder techniques like, great, now I'm a bit concerned about my statistics labs. Many students are getting 100s. Is this something I should be concerned about? Let's say like 95 to 100s. And so, there's sort of this like, oh, like it's kind of cool that they're getting great grades, but like, what are some of the things you also want to consider? So are they having a good depth of understanding? Is there appropriate differentiation in the labs? Are students finding it too easy? What is the feedback that they're getting, et cetera? And you can get even more specific. Obviously, I'm putting in sort of surface level questions, but you could totally put in more specific questions, and ChatGPT and the Founders persona should adapt. The last one is the one I'm like really excited about, Zelda and Chic. So I go here and I copy this. And again, I go new chat. And I paste this in here. So it starts by saying, I understand the roles of Zelda and Chic. And Zelda and Chic, like I said, is sort of meant for you to talk about like learning access and student achievement. You can start with either Zelda or Chic. I generally would start with Zelda. So like, let's start this. Hi, I want to communicate with Zoe, who has a tough time working with her peers. She is highly motivated, but her learning profile suggests some ADHD. I'm finding she's really struggling with multiple choice questions. Do you have any guidance for me or suggestions I could provide her as she prepares for future assessments? Are there so Zelda's now asking for feedback. Can you describe specific interests where Zoe seems to have difficulty? Are there patterns you notice? Do you have any insights to why she might find them challenging once I've gathered the information? Okay, so I don't want to read the rest now, but let's say she seems to have a tough time during group work letting others take ownership, or let's say during group work, letting others allow their ideas to be heard. I've noticed in multiple choice questions, she often picks the second best answer. So here are some strategies, both for group work and multiple choice. And obviously I put both of those in here, but I could have gone one at a time. So then you have these ideas. You can encourage Zoe to practice some active listening and take some moment to gather her thoughts before she responds. And then the multiple choice question approach, overthinking or uncertainty, encourage her to read all the choices, remind her to trust her initial instincts if she's torn, as her first choice might be more accurate. Then it asks, so obviously you can put in a ton of these different ones, but it also asks, do you want to explore Zoe's experiences further by engaging with Sheik? Yes, I'd like to engage with Sheik. And if anybody doesn't know, I'm referencing Legend of Zelda. So here, actually, this is one of those instances where it's coming in first. Here we go. So I regenerated the response because I wanted something shorter. It was actually coming up with a sample conversation. And what Sheik is actually meant to do is simulate a possible conversation as Sheik. So let's see. Let's set as Sheik. I'm going to share what it's like for Zoe during group work. Feel free to any questions. So let's see. Zoe, I'm noticing you're having a tough time working on your water cycle group project. How are you feeling working with, let's say, Max, Johnny, and Rachel? I want to drop. Okay. It's an overall mix of feelings. Okay, so let's implement what Zelda said. So let's say, have you tried an active listening approach? Okay, so here you're getting like Zoe kind of adopt this and sort of saying like she's feeling really uncertain. Okay, so let's say sometimes I try and wait a few minutes so I can really solidify my understanding before sharing. Could that be helpful? It's also helpful to provide some non-verbal affirmations to your peers. Might you try implementing those strategies? Those strategies sounds like could be helpful. Thank you for suggesting them. Okay, so like obviously, hopefully this goes like this. If you want to tell Sheik that maybe Zoe or whatever student you're working with pushes back a little bit, you can kind of practice with that approach. But hopefully this allows you to sort of like practice a conversation, sort of get informed first by some understanding of from sort of this like learning access and learning psychology sort of perspective, but then also sort of practice these conversations, which I think can certainly be helpful. Anyway, here are my 3 personas. I'm super interested in any feedback. I'm really interested, and maybe I'll try to build it into the page for you to have some indication of like, yes, this worked. No, this was really finicky. I'm really worried. I don't say really worried, but I do have some concerns that it might not work as originally planned. So if I get a lot of feedback there, I'm going to sort of reassess sort of the prompts. But hopefully these are cool ways for you guys to think about using AI to better support our students and have some more fun teaching. Thank you very much, and have at it. Enjoy.